겁니다.
I used to wait for the phone to ring every Sunday, and when it stopped, I told myself it was just life getting busy. My name is Arthur, and I'm 84 years old. It took me far too long to understand that silence isn't always about distance. Sometimes it's about damage. My son Hamza used to call me every week without fail. Sunday evenings just after dinner. I could almost set the clock by it. I would sit in my old chair by the window, the same chair I'm sitting in now, and I would wait. His voice always came in a little rushed at first, like he was stepping out of his life for a moment just to check on me. Then slowly he would settle. He would ask about my health, about the house, about things that didn't really matter, but somehow meant everything. I didn't notice when those calls started getting shorter. At first I blamed his job, then his children. Life moves quickly when you're young, I told myself. I even felt proud of him for being so busy, so needed. A man should be busy. That's what I always believed. The truth is, I was the one who taught him that. When Hamza was a boy, I was not the kind of father who sat and listened. I was the kind who worked. Long days, longer nights. I believed providing was love. I believed discipline was care. And I believed that too much softness would make a boy weak. He used to come to me with small things, school stories, little achievements, sometimes even his worries. I remember how he would stand near the doorway, shifting his weight, waiting for me to look up from whatever I was doing. Most times I didn't, and when I did, I kept it short. A nod, a few words, and then back to work. I told myself I was teaching him independence. There was one evening I think about often now. He must have been around 10. He came to me with a drawing he had made. I don't remember what it looked like, only that he was proud of it. He held it out with both hands, like it was something fragile. I glanced at it for maybe 2 seconds and said, "That's nice." Without even really seeing it, he stood there a moment longer, waiting for something more. I didn't give it. Eventually, he just nodded and walked away. At the time, it meant nothing to me. It was just another small moment in a busy day. But I see it clearly now, as if it happened this morning. Not because of what I did, but because of what I didn't do. I didn't ask him about it. I didn't tell him I was proud. I didn't make him feel seen. Years passed like that. I was always there, but never really present. I attended the important things, paid for what was needed, kept the house running. From the outside, I was a good father, maybe even a respectable one. But respect is a quiet thing. It doesn't fill the spaces where warmth should be. When he grew older, he stopped coming to me with his thoughts. Our conversations became practical, short, safe. I didn't question it. I thought this was what it meant for a boy to become a man. When he left home, I shook his hand instead of hugging him. It felt right at the time, strong, proper. He smiled, but it was a careful kind of smile, like he had already learned not to expect too much from me. The years moved on, and he built a life of his own. A good life, I could see that. He had a family, a steady job, responsibilities, the kind of man I had hoped he would become. And he still called me, every Sunday. Those calls were polite, respectful, but now I realize they were also distant. I thought that was normal. I thought that was enough. Then one Sunday the phone didn't ring. I remember telling myself not to worry. He must be busy. I even felt a small sense of pride again, thinking my son was too occupied with his life to make a call. That meant he was doing well, didn't it? The next Sunday I waited again, and again nothing. Weeks turned into months. The silence grew heavier each time, but I refused to name it. Instead, I made excuses for him. I protected him in my thoughts, the way I never protected his feelings when he was young. I did try calling him a few times. The conversations were brief. He was polite, as always, but there was a distance in his voice that I couldn't reach. It was like speaking to someone across a wide river with no bridge. I told myself this is just how life is. Children grow up, they move on. But late at night when the house was quiet, I would sit with that silence and feel something I didn't have a name for back then. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even sadness in the way I understood it. It was something closer to absence, like a room in my life had been emptied and I didn't know when it happened. The realization didn't come all at once. It came slowly, in small, uncomfortable pieces. I started remembering things I had long forgotten, not the big moments, but the small ones. The ones I used to think didn't matter. The drawing, the doorway, the way he used to look at me, waiting. And I began to see a pattern I had never noticed before. He didn't stop calling me suddenly. He had been slowly stepping away for years, each unanswered moment from me, each time I chose work over presence, each time I kept my words short and my feelings shorter. Those were the steps he took backward. By the time I noticed the silence, he was already too far away. I used to believe that children owe their parents closeness, that respect naturally turns into connection. But now I understand something I wish I had known when it mattered. Respect can exist without warmth. Duty can exist without love. And a son can learn to live without the thing he once needed the most. I don't blame him anymore. For a long time I did. I told myself he had forgotten me, that he had chosen his life over his father. It was easier to think that way. But the truth is harder and quieter. He didn't leave me. I never fully reached him. These days I don't wait by the phone anymore. Not the way I used to. I still hope, of course. A man doesn't stop hoping. But I understand now that some distances aren't measured in miles or time. They are built in moments that seem small when they happen, but grow larger with every year. If you're listening to me now, maybe you still have time where I didn't. If someone stands in your doorway holding something they're proud of, look at it. Really look at it. If someone calls you, don't just answer, stay. Listen. Let them feel that they matter, not just in your life, but in your attention. Because one day the silence might come, and when it does, you may finally understand it, the way I did.